Steelers Nation, what's going on? The Pittsburgh Steelers are once again showing that they refuse to stay stagnant. This organization is built on the idea of constant improvement, of always pushing forward to find better results, no matter how painful the process might be. And right now, it feels like we're standing at the beginning of the most dramatic offseason this franchise has seen in nearly 2 decades. So, before we dive into everything that's happening behind the scenes in Pittsburgh, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It helps the channel grow, it helps this content reach more Steelers fans, and it tells me you want more exclusive breakdowns like this one. Steelers Nation, if you want the official Steelers store, the link is in the description and the comment. Tons of new Sideline gear and hoodies available. Because today's topic, this one is massive. The Steelers have officially opened the floodgates, and a full clean house is now on the table. For the first time in 19 years, the Steelers are operating without Mike Tomlin. Let that sink in. Nearly 2 decades of stability, consistency, and familiarity is gone in an instant, and with that, the entire organization is now in uncharted waters. The Steelers are being careful with their words. They're not making firm declarations. They're not announcing a rebuild. They're not promising a quick turnaround. Instead, they're doing something very un-Steelers-like. They're waiting. The priority is clear. Pittsburgh wants to hire their next head coach first, and only then will they decide what changes make sense for 2026. And that decision alone is already changing everything. Because one move this week quietly revealed just how deep this transformation could go. In a stunning development, the Steelers informed their entire coaching staff that they are free to explore other opportunities. No guarantees, no automatic retention, no safety net. Unless the next head coach chooses to bring them back, every coach is gone. This is unprecedented in Pittsburgh. Already, special teams coordinator Danny Smith and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith have begun interviewing with other teams, and that might only be the beginning. For an organization that hasn't seen a full staff turnover since 2007, this is a clear signal. Nothing is sacred anymore. The Steelers are not just changing leadership, they're resetting the foundation. And once that door is opened, it doesn't stop at the coaching staff. Steelers owner Art Rooney III didn't hide what's coming next. When asked about how the coaching change might affect the roster, Rooney was careful but honest. "I think it's too early to say what effect it's going to have on the roster. The new coach, obviously, is going to have a lot to say in that. We'll have that discussion when the time comes." That one sentence tells you everything. The new head coach isn't just picking assistants. He's helping decide who stays, who goes, and what direction this franchise takes. And Rooney already confirmed one major clue. Aaron Rodgers was a Mike guy, which means without Tomlin, the chances of Rodgers returning drop dramatically. That leads us to the next, much scarier question. When you talk about Pittsburgh Steelers football, 2 names define this era. TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, and for the first time, both are legitimately on the chopping block. Cam Hayward is 36 years old, coming off an incredible All-Pro season. He's a leader, a legend, and a symbol of everything this franchise stands for. But the NFL doesn't care about sentiment, and new regimes often want to establish their own identity. The Steelers have quietly told legendary players in the past that it was time to move on. A new head coach, with no emotional ties to the past, could decide that the best move for the future is turning the page, even on a player like Hayward. Then there's TJ Watt, and this one is far more complicated. Watt will turn 32 next season. His contract pays him $42 million in each of the next 2 years. He's coming off a season with fewer than 10 sacks, just the 3rd time in his career. Still elite? Absolutely, but the decline has begun. A new regime could view Watt as the cornerstone of the franchise, or as a valuable asset
whose trade could accelerate a rebuild. And that's the scary part. For the first time in years, every single player on the roster is being evaluated. If you want a symbol of how fast things are changing, look no further than Aaron Rodgers. According to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, Rodgers is currently not expected to return to the Steelers now that Mike Tomlin is gone. And while the team would welcome him back if he chooses to play, the tone surrounding the situation suggests this could be the end. Rodgers just finished his age 42 season with Pittsburgh, throwing for 3,322 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. Statistically, it was a strong year, but the playoff exit, a brutal 30-6 loss to Houston, left a sour taste. Rodgers has made it clear he's not making emotional decisions. No, I'm not going to make any emotional decisions. Disappointed, obviously. Such a fun year. A lot of adversity, but a lot of fun. Been a great year overall in my life. This is a really good part of that. But behind the scenes, signs point to retirement. ESPN's Lisa Salters reported that Rodgers told the production crew back in Week 15 that he's probably retiring. That was before the playoff loss, before Tomlin stepped down, before the organization reset. Now, it feels inevitable. Rodgers' story is incredible. Drafted in 2005, a legend in Green Bay, a short, painful stop in New York, and one final ride in Pittsburgh that gave the Steelers their best quarterback play in years. But this offseason isn't just about Rodgers. It's about a franchise finally allowing itself to change. For nearly 20 years, the Steelers operated with stability. One coach, one culture, one voice. And now, that voice is gone. The structure is gone. The safety is gone. And that's terrifying. But it's also exciting, because clean slates create opportunity. They create innovation. They create new eras. And for the first time in a long time, the Steelers are acting like a team that understands the moment. The next head coach will decide everything. Who stays, who leaves, who gets traded, who gets extended, and what kind of team the Steelers want to be in 2026 and beyond. This could be a retool, this could be a rebuild, this could be a complete transformation. But one thing is clear, the floodgates are open, and once they're open, there's no closing them again. The Steelers' head coaching search has officially begun, and things are moving fast. Interviews are being scheduled, names are being floated, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, Pittsburgh is seriously evaluating what kind of football identity it wants moving forward. And now a sleeper candidate has emerged, one that isn't getting the national spotlight yet, but has the backing of a major NFL insider. On Good Morning Football, NFL analyst Tom Pelissero dropped a name that instantly made Steelers fans lean forward in their seats. Klay Kubiak, offensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, that Kubiak.
While much of the attention has been on his brother, Clint Kubiak, Pelissero believes Klay could quietly emerge as a legitimate option for Pittsburgh, especially if the Steelers are truly open to changing their traditional approach. And here's the big news. The Steelers have already reached out for an interview. For decades, the Steelers have followed the same blueprint. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. Young coaches, defensive backgrounds, strong leadership traits. But what if this time they do something different? That's exactly what Pelissero hinted at when discussing Kubiak's name. There are some wild cards like Klay Kubiak, Pelissero said. If these Steelers, for the first time in all those years, are willing to go with a coach with an offensive background rather than defense, don't overlook him. That one sentence is huge, because it signals that the Steelers may finally be ready to break tradition and modernize. Let's be honest, Steelers Nation. Offense has been the franchise's biggest weakness for years. Even during playoff runs, even during division titles, Pittsburgh has relied on defense to carry the load. And while that identity brought championships in the past, the modern NFL is different.
You need creativity. You need quarterback development. You need passing concepts that stress defenses. That's where Klay Kubiak comes in. This is his first season as the offensive coordinator for the 49ers, and the results have been impressive. After being wrecked by injuries in previous seasons, San Francisco's offense came roaring back under his direction. In 2025, the 49ers ranked 7th in total offensive yards, 5th in passing yards, 10th in total points scored. That's not just good, that's elite production in a league that's more competitive than ever. If you want to understand why Klay Kubiak's name should be taken seriously, look no further than Brock Purdy. Kubiak was the assistant quarterbacks coach when the 49ers transformed Purdy from the final pick in the 2022 NFL Draft into a legitimate NFL starter, one of the best development stories in recent history. That matters a lot, because the Steelers are desperate for quarterback stability. Whether it's drafting a young QB, reviving a veteran, or developing a late-round project, Pittsburgh needs someone who knows how to build quarterbacks from the ground up. And Kubiak has already done it at the highest level. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: experience. Klay Kubiak has never been an NFL head coach. He has 1 year as an offensive coordinator, and his only head coaching experience came at the high school level. That'll scare some fans and some executives. But remember this: Mike Tomlin had never been a head coach either when the Steelers hired him. Neither had Cowher, neither had Noll. The Steelers have a long history of betting on potential, not resumes, and Kubiak fits that mold perfectly. This coaching search isn't just about replacing Mike Tomlin. It's about redefining what the Steelers are for the next 10 to 15 years. Do they remain a defensive-first team, or do they finally embrace the offensive evolution of the NFL? Hiring Klay Kubiak would send a loud message: the Steelers are ready to change. He brings a modern passing game philosophy, experience with elite offensive minds like Kyle Shanahan, proven quarterback development skills, fresh energy and innovation, and most importantly, he brings hope for an offense that can finally match the defense. Make no mistake, this would be a risk, a big one, but the reward? Potentially massive. If Kubiak hits, the Steelers could land the next great offensive mind in the NFL before the rest of the league catches on. That's how dynasties are built. That's how the Chiefs found Andy Reid. That's how the Rams built around Sean McVay. Sometimes you have to zig when everyone else zags. And right now, Klay Kubiak is that zig. The Steelers are at a crossroads. This is the most important coaching hire the franchise has made since 2007. The next decision will shape everything: the quarterback, the roster, the culture, the future. Klay Kubiak might not be the flashy name, he might not be the safe pick, but he could be the right one. And now that Tom Pelissero put his name on the map, don't be surprised if his momentum starts building fast. So now it's your turn. Do you support a full, clean house? Would you trade T.J. Watt if the value is right? Is it time to move on from Cam Hayward? And do you believe this reset will finally get the Steelers back to championship football? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. And if you made it this far, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update from what could be the most important offseason in the Steelers' history. And don't forget, the official Steelers store link is down below if you want to check out the newest gear. Steelers Nation, buckle up. This ride is just beginning.